And welcome to the first episode of The Toy Chef. This is a segment on my channel where I will try and do my best to answer all the questions that you have for me, or most of the questions that you have for me about toys, collecting, about myself, and maybe if you need some advice. So it's going to be more of a casual, informal thing as a way for me to communicate to you guys who've all been very loyal and supportive of my videos since I was doing it in FX France and now on Chefatron. And it's my way of saying thanks to you guys and girls, and just a more interactive way of doing so rather than just typing everything on the screen and just answering very briefly and whatnot. So here I can elaborate more on my answers without typing too much away on the text box. So, since it's the first episode, let me tell you about myself. For those of you who have no idea who I am, or for those for the first time to watch my videos, I started reviewing on YouTube since 2008 or late 2007. I can't even remember. I started on a channel called FX France, but I had to change the channel because it went into limbo or some complicated thing like that on YouTube. I put up another channel called Chefatron, and this is my current channel now, Chefatron. So all the videos you see on FX France and all the videos you see on Chefatron, they're done by me, same guy. So okay, so there you go. Uh, I collect mostly Transformers, Star Wars, and Marvel toys. On the side, I do have a little bit of Masters of the Universe classics. I have some DC figures, some Legos, some Creos. I have a few small GI Joe collection. But mostly, my channel delves into the world of Transformers, Marvel, and Star Wars. I will touch on those other toys like Ninja Turtles and whatnot as the occasion arises. Um, when I was a kid, the first thing I started collecting were He-Mans and G.I. Joes and GoBots. So I got a ton of G.I. Joes. I'm not really interested in collecting them now because back then when I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of Transformers. I did a lot of Marvel toys. Back then there wasn't a lot of Marvel toys yet. And so that's what I'm doing now. Star Wars toys were very expensive back then, and so that's what I'm doing now. Okay, enough of myself. A couple more things. Yes, I am a chef. I have a local uh, bakery, bake shop business. I'm a pastry chef. I also do culinary. I cook meals for my kids, for my wife, and I bake. So if you're wondering if I'm really a chef, yes. I have a chef for my store. Okay, I don't go to a cruise liner or a hotel. Okay, I have a liberal arts degree. I got an MBA, and I got a black belt in Aikido. I guess that's it. Okay. I'd like to answer the top three questions that are mostly asked on my channel or posted on my videos. The first number one question is, where did you get that? Or where do you get your toys? Where do you buy it? Every time I post a review, like, where'd you get that? So, it might come as a surprise to you guys, but most of my toys, 70%, 75% of my toys, I get them on regular retail. Regular retail meaning the local toy shops here in Manila. Manila is in the Philippines, if you didn't know. I don't know how soon we get stuff, but I get my stuff from the two biggest toy stores here in Manila. It's Toy Kingdom and Toys R Us. Toy Kingdom is owned by the largest mall chain here in Manila. It's called SM, and Toys R Us is the franchise is owned by the rival competing mall, Robinsons. So I get my stuff from Toys R Us and Toy Kingdom. Now the 30%, 25% of the toys that I have, I get from hobby shops in Green Hills. If you live in Manila, you know where Green Hills is, and from toy conventions. For hobby shops, my number one go-to stores for like Transformers is R Toys. You know that. You've seen my reviews. I get Transformers from R Toys. Marvel and Star Wars, I get them at Kramer Toy Warden, also in Green Hills. And maybe less than 1% of my toys, I get them from abroad, from the US, from Europe, maybe from Singapore, Hong Kong. Whenever my wife travels on business, I ask her to visit the toy shops and get me some stuff there. My brother works for Amazon in Seattle, so when he comes home, I ask him to buy a couple of things. But that's just 1% of my toys. So that's where I get my toys. So if I'm reviewing it, most of the time, chances are I picked it up on local retail at Toys R Us or Toy Kingdom, or at some other department store here in Manila like the Landmark or Rustan's or Toy Town, but retail. And the one fourth of my collection of the stuff I have are from hobby shops, like Our Toys and Kramer. All right, number two, the second most asked question is, how do you clean your toys? Well, the fact is I don't. As you can see, they just it's just too cumbersome. I just do not have the time to do it. Sure, I run a bakery business. I have a lot of time, right? I pick up my kids from school. We do homework. I do reviews. I do have a life too, so I don't just spend my day doing toys. And it's ridiculously difficult to dust all of these things in one go. So what I do is every month I have a shelf for the month, like this one, the Avengers shelf. They just got knocked down. An accident happened. I don't know how it happened, but I'm gonna fix this one for this month of July. Maybe if I can squeeze in a couple more Transformer shelves and whatnot. But I do one space a month, and that's it. That's how I clean my stuff. And the way I clean it, I don't know, I dust it off or I soak them in water or whatever. But the truth is, I don't clean. All right. And number three, no, the third most asked question for me is, uh, how do you pose your figures? How do you get them in those poses? Well, the truth is, I don't really have a scientific way of doing it, or maybe a clear cut way of doing it. It comes to me. Like, when an artist has paints something, or when a sculptor tries to make a bust of something. I don't know. It just comes to me. I see the figure. I do a little bit of research on it, and I try to present the figure in the best possible light that I can show the figure, which brings me to my next and next final point for this show, for the first episode of our show. I will be doing because some of the subscribers have requested it. Okay, I will, on the topic of posing figures, I will do a how-to tutorial, a series of how-to tutorials on how to pose your action figures. Do stay tuned for that. And a bunch of the ideas came about when I was talking about it with my good buddy Christian. We were having lunch or something, and he said, "Why don't you post videos on how to pose figures?" I said, I wouldn't know the first thing to say. And he gave me some ideas of what the curriculum would be and how you're going to go about it. So do stay tuned for that. I'm going to do the first two lessons for the first video for that. And I'll be posting it as soon as I get this one posted on. So there you go. That's the show, or pseudo show, the Toy Chef. I'm trying to do this for you guys so I can answer more, and for you to interact more with me, so you have another venue for us to talk about stuff, so we don't lengthen the video or whatnot. I can talk about more of what I do and the toys that I'm interested in. And yeah, so that's it. If you have any questions for me, I will do my best to answer them on the next show of the Toy Chef, the next episode. And do post them in the comment section below. Please make sure that you write your name. It doesn't have to be your full name. It can be just your nickname, your handle. Just don't make it too complicated, like a alphanumeric, like 10075 slash Stark, all Spark, what, regular name, like a nickname. And then tell me where you're from, so I can uh, give a shout out to you when I do the next show. Boy, it's hot. So thank you for watching, and until next time, catch me on the Toy Chef.